what was it, 2018. So I just finished my 3-year Bachelor's of Architecture and, was expecting that really expensive piece of paper to actually mean something. Unfortunately, it didn't help me find a job, and honestly, I didn't even feel like I understood what architecture was. Then I started talking to people, lots and lots of people, and the general consensus was the same. So, what is one single master's student gonna try and do about it? Okay, this actually isn't my first attempt at this, and when I first came up with the idea, I was young and pretty naive. The idea for the documentary was to expose every institution on the planet by stitching together a few interviews. That's not even a documentary. Thankfully, it's been 3 years since then. I've learned a lot and positioned myself pretty well to make this happen. But without a strategy, this can still really easily be dismissed.
Hi Louise, my name's Sana. So I'm a master's student, I'm in my first year and I'm based in London and I'm studying at the University of Greenwich, and on the side I also create content. So I have a blog called To Scale, which is essentially just a platform for architecture students, and yeah, I dabble in a few different projects and it's been going for over 2 years now.
Hi Sana, my name is Lou. I am based in Brisbane. I graduated from uni in 2019. I finished my master's then, before the world went crazy. I'm currently working on hospitality and commercial project. On the side, I also volunteer for an organisation called Women in Design and Construction. It's like a national sort of organisation that supports women in the design and construction industry. So that's me.
It's actually really great to have you both on the team, and I am really looking forward to having the support of such talented and hardworking people for this project, because it's really not going to be easy.
Okay, let me just cut in here real quick. We've all spent so much time on Zoom that I thought it'd be better to just show you what we talked about rather than playing this. I have 1.5 years left before I graduate, and within that time, the goal is to help improve things at my university. Every term for the rest of my degree, I'll focus on a different topic. I'll be giving a voice to the people who don't feel like they have one, learning about what goes on behind the scenes, putting a spotlight on the people who are already making a difference, taking this all to the decision makers, and if everything goes well, we'll work together. And if not, all this will be on the internet for anyone to see. I want to do these stories justice, and as an aspiring filmmaker, who cares if I piss a couple of people off along the way? That first meeting was around week 3 of uni. Classes were well underway and progress was being made. The focus really was on the documentary and planning ahead for the rest of the whole series, which included lots of things. Because this was a student-run project, we actually started to get some genuine backing. It was really, really exciting. I started to have lots of off-the-record conversations and meetings with some professionals who were really passionate about helping students, and was learning that this actually goes much, much deeper than I had initially expected. This information was actually really, really powerful. With all that support, by week 4, it started to feel like maybe, just maybe, we'd be able to gain enough support to actually be heard and taken seriously with this project. And here's where things kind of took a turn. Going into 2022, this was my priority. I'd set one rule, which was that anything I'd take on this year had to be relevant to the project. And then I broke that one rule. As an aspiring filmmaker, my goal was to start a production company after uni. But because of an opportunity, I had to do that a bit earlier than anticipated. But then another opportunity came, and another, and all of a sudden I found myself doing freelance work this year. Sometime during one of those gigs, a guy approached me and asked for my details. An email led to a phone call. All right, thanks so much again for your time today. Have a good one. See you later. Bye. And finally, an interview. I should really be quick with this because I am about to go for that first job interview. This is my first ever opportunity in the industry, I guess. Fingers crossed it all goes well. And I should probably get going now. Okay. Okay. Things just got a little bit more complicated. See, for a filmmaker, this decision was a no-brainer. Rather than paying to make videos, I'd be paid to make videos. And I started to question my priorities. But the biggest thing on my mind was that no matter how great the production or how many people got involved, there was no guarantee that a positive change would come out of all of this. So honestly, why bother? It's 1:59 p.m. I've been trying to get some sleep for a few hours now, and I haven't been able to because all I can think about is the documentary. You know, sometimes it really does feel like I'm carrying this, or I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I know that's dramatic. And all that combined, it's just made this really stressful. On top of that, there was a glimmer of hope. In week 7, there was gonna be a town hall meeting run by the architecture faculty. This is something they just introduced this year, where students would be able to come talk to the head of school directly and voice their opinions. It starts in about 5 minutes, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. Maybe this whole documentary / campaign isn't necessary. I'm pretty optimistic about it, so let's see how it goes. But I was the only non-organizer who attended this event. Okay, part of this series really is about showcasing the wonderful things that people are doing at the moment, but also the title says it all. Don't get me wrong, this initiative was a start, but the faculty hadn't used any of its resources to get the word out to students, and I guess it kind of defeated the whole purpose of running a town hall meeting in the first place. So that's what I suggested to the head of school. It was then and there where I realized that neither side could actually make a positive change without the other. And so this series actually did matter. But my heart still wasn't fully in the project. So like any mature 24-year-old who was pretty lost, I ran back home to my mother. That first night home was maybe the first time in weeks or even months that I'd actually stopped to breathe and reflect. That is when I realized how burnt out I was. I guess the 9 weeks of nearly 11-hour days had finally caught up to me, and the thought of balancing 4 more terms of that with studio seemed impossible. It was really clear that I just couldn't go on like that. So the next day I went to do the job, came back pretty exhausted, but felt surprisingly good. The day after that, same thing. And it wasn't until that 3rd day home that I finally figured it all out. Going home took me back to being a kid again, where I had been surrounded by people that cared about me during some of my personal toughest days. That helped remind me that I wasn't alone, and well, I stopped feeling that way. My family and friends have always been there for me and believed in me, and are the reason I'm here today. This whole time I haven't been able to put my finger on what the actual objective of this documentary should be. Yes, of course, it's about changing architecture education, but I'm doing that for a reason. The students and future students. Just by listening, sharing experiences, and standing together, no matter the outcome, we can all connect through this and ultimately make sure that no one in the community feels like they're alone. It really can make such a huge difference. In my case, the last 2 weeks of the term was supposed to be the most intense and busy of the entire year so far, but it was kind of a breeze. I caught up with the producers, met some really, really important people for this project, worked on 2 freelance jobs, and even submitted my assignment a day early. I'm more excited and energized for this project now that I guess it's really clear who this is for and what the goal is. But this is where you come in. The last thing to do now before this series can actually take shape is take this directly to my university. so that we can record these meetings and important discussions. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that they know this is important. Every view, like, share, comment, endorsement, sponsorship, or any sign of support for this series will go a really long way in making them listen and take us seriously. What a term. But I guess from this point on, the critique begins. So, are you with us?